Hey fam, welcome back. Thank you for joining me here at Life in the Clear. Listen, I am Catherine V, your favorite auntie, CEO and founder of Life in the Clear, where we basically make purity practical by teaching biblical and everyday principles on how to live out this lifestyle of purity. So today, we are going to be discussing 3 misconceptions that are associated with purity. Basically, what it isn't, right? These are 3 misconceptions. So I am going to be looking down, so if I do, that's just because I'm looking at my notes, all right? So 3 misconceptions about purity. Number 1, let's start with number 1. And this is a big one. Purity is not a circumstance. Too often, it has been taught in a way that it's like if this one thing happens to you, or if you make this one decision, you're no longer pure. And that's not true, because purity is a choice, right? Which means no one can force you or no one can take something away from you. Like I said, it's not a circumstance. It's not a situation. It's not this one-time event that happens to you, right? That basically destroys purity in your life forever. No, again, it is a choice. And we have a decision, right? We can decide whether we want to live out a lifestyle of purity or not. And it's not conditional, right? It's not based on a condition, right? Or a situation. And I'm going to talk about that, I think, in the next 2 videos about the attribute of innocence. And that one is going to be deep. So you want to really tune into that one. All right, that's misconception number 1, that purity is a circumstance. It's not. It's actually a choice that you can make, which means that no one can force you to live out this lifestyle. Okay, and I'll add a little bit more context to it when I talk about the attribute of innocence and what that really means and what it's about, because it's not what you think and it's not what culture says that it is. All right. Speaking of that, number 2, purity is not a culture. It is not a culture. It is not a group of people. It is not even the church. It is not. It's not Christians. Like, purity is not a culture. It is a lifestyle. It is a way that you live out your life, right? The decisions that you make. Now, I know so far you're probably wondering, hey, well, what is purity? So I'm going to have to really define that for you maybe in the next episode. But purity, look, it's not a culture. It's not a group of people. It's not a religion or a religious association. It is a way that you live your life. And there's so many benefits to living a lifestyle of purity that I will definitely go in at a later date. So many benefits. Peace of mind, peace of heart, so many benefits. So that's misconception number 2. Number 2, right? Is that it is a culture. It is not a culture, okay? Because sometimes with cultures, if we're honest, if you originally were not part of that culture, then it's like almost like that there's an exclusion there, right? Exclusivity. And the thing is about purity, it's not exclusive, it's inclusive. However, there are ways that you live out a purity lifestyle so that you can be included in this particular lifestyle. It's not a culture, it's a lifestyle. Okay? Number 3, misconception number 3. Purity is not a status. Okay? It's not a status. It doesn't matter if you're a teen. It doesn't matter if you are single. It doesn't matter if you're married. It doesn't matter if you've gone through a divorce. Purity is not a status. The way that purity has been taught, or the way that we think of it, it's mostly associated with kids or youth, or if you're single. And that's because the perception that purity is equivalent to sex, right? Being sexually active or not being sexually active. And like I said, that's one expression of living out a lifestyle of purity, but it's not limited to that. There are actually 3 different ways that we can live out a lifestyle of purity, in which you will learn about that a little later as well. So you really have to go on this journey with me. All right. So yeah, number 3, it is not a status, and it's relevant at every stage of life, no matter what your status is or might be. There's a way to apply the principles of purity, and it is relevant at every stage of life. All right. So that pretty much wraps us up for today. I hope you enjoyed our session as we talked about the 3 misconceptions of purity. Now, there are a few other ones in which, hey, we can get into as well. Now, listen, if you have a conference or a youth event, I am available for booking to speak on a few different topics: the principles of purity, the power of curiosity, also even with workshops. So look at my website. I love you all. Make sure you support. You can go to our shop, and I'll share that information as well. And also, I mentioned, I think in the last video, that you can actually pre-register for a course, How to Live a Lifestyle of Purity. This one is specifically for the teens. So you can make sure share that information with any parent that you know or guardian. That will be a great resource and tool teaching purity to teens. Okay? All right. Love you all. Have a great, wonderful, wherever you are in the world, night, evening, morning. Stay safe. Talk soon.